Federal Allocation Committee shares 680.783 billion naira as May revenue. President Muhammadu Buhari leads Nigeria's delegation to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. Tax authorities want the National Assembly to review electoral acts to include compliance as qualification criterion for election. Federal government saved 10 trillion naira from TSA operation in 7 years. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Good to have you join us at this time, and it is time to talk business. And we start by telling you that the 2022 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHAGM, is now underway in Kigali, Rwanda, and President Muhammadu Buhari is leading Nigeria's delegation to the high-level engagement, which is the 26th in its series. The crucial summit holding in Kigali, the Rwandan capital, comes after 2 years of delay due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This time, the bloc is making key decisions for the future in response to the energy crisis, food shortage, and inflation arising from Russia-Ukraine war. Adamu Sambo reports.
Holding for the first time in 4 years due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 global pandemic, CHAGM 2022 in Rwanda is the 6th time an African country is hosting and the first since 2007.
The President of Nigeria,
President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria, and 53 other leaders from the Commonwealth member countries, as well as over 5,000 delegates from government, business, and civil society are participating at the event with the theme Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming. Described as the most significant grouping of countries in the world, the Commonwealth is above all bound by values of peace, justice, tolerance, respect, and solidarity. And as the leaders begin deliberations here in Kigali amidst new and decisive shifts in the world, it is imperative that those values shape the choices they make towards achieving progress for the 2.5 billion people they represent. It is indeed the time to show the world what real unity, solidarity, cooperation and progress look like, as speakers including the Prince of Wales and future head of the Commonwealth kept emphasizing in their opening remarks.
If we are to leave the world better than we found it, and that is our duty and our privilege, we must be bold with our ambition, decisive with our actions, and united in our effort.
The economic damage of COVID and mounting debt confront us all. The rapid intensification of climate change poses an existential threat.
Ours is a country that was torn apart by genocide and division just a generation ago.
During the opening, a moment of silent reflection was observed in memory of the more than 1 million people across the Commonwealth from all walks of life, including the heads of government who died, particularly of COVID, since the last meeting in London 4 years ago.
Well, from Kigali, it's back home, where the Director General Bureau of Public Service Reforms, Dasuki Arabi, has been speaking on the benefits that the government and Nigerians are getting from the services of the Bureau in collaboration with other agencies of the federal government. The achievements, he says, include the introduction of IPPIS, which has eliminated about 70,000 ghost workers.
We have driven a process of transformation to improve access to government services, to improve the quality of life of citizens of this country, to improve transparency, and give the citizens the opportunity to participate in governance. As I'm talking to you, some agencies of government in Nigeria have already reached that level of world class. There is never a month that will pass that we don't receive a delegation coming from outside Nigeria to come and study how Nigeria reform its tax system, how Nigeria is implementing Treasury Single Account, how Nigeria is implementing IPPIS and many. Now, we have picked agencies of government that have reached that stage: Inland Revenue Service, Security and Exchange Commission, Corporate Affairs Commission, and many others. So if we have those building blocks coming together closer, we are confident that by the year 2025, we'll be where we are supposed to.
The Joint Tax Board has appealed to the National Assembly to review the Electoral Act to include tax compliance as requirement for qualification into political office.
To have effective, compliance with political leaders. The leaders must show example.
Zaid Abubakar is setting agenda for tax compliance by political office holders with the exemplary action of Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, who pays taxes on all sources of income in addition to personal income tax and pays as at when due. For Aminu Zurmi, the Kaduna example is not obtainable in Sokoto, but he is optimistic that it can be replicated.
The laws are already there. It is how we interpret it and how courageous we are and how creative we are.
When we're talking of setup, needs, linking up every source of income to one person.
They therefore advocate independence of the various tax authorities and strengthening reforms that will bring about desired laws and enforcement for better revenue generation.
All agencies that, accumulate information data, we are into collaboration with them to ensure that those information are put into effective use.
They also recommend collaboration with political parties and the Code of Conduct Bureau to have information about assets declared by political office holders for effective tax receipts. Conversations at the meeting centered on effective tax compliance for political office holders, a panacea for national development. Well, now the federal government has said that the pump price of premium motor spirit, that is PMS, and what we know as petrol, remains 165 naira per litre across all filling stations nationwide. This was made known by the Executive Director, Distribution Systems, Storage and Retail Infrastructure of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Ubogu Okoha in Lagos. But in a similar development, IPMAN National President Chinedu Okoronko at a briefing in Abuja said the association had resolved to maintain the status quo even as the NNPC and the Pipeline and Product Marketing Company PPMC responded positively to the association's request by releasing products from their tank farms that can last 32 days. Well, let's take a trip to the commodities market before we get into the business of the day, which is the persistent fuel queues. Well, the queues have come to a significant feature of the Abuja landscape for months now. But then some major cities like Lagos have joined the trend. Calls have been mounting for a complete deregulation of this sector, but President Muhammadu Buhari early this week said there was no plan to do away with petrol subsidies, at least not for now. There was also the debate over sustainability of the pump price, but again, marketers and regulators have reached a truce. So, how long before the queues disappear? Is there a permanent solution in sight? Joining me is Anicho Oti. He is the Senior Special Assistant to the President, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you, my brother.
Well, the queues. At some point in our national life, they were part of us. But government's commitment over time ensured that these queues disappeared. But when they came back, they seemed not to want to go away. How did we get here?
Thank you for having me. We all agree that we have a global energy crisis in the world. Nigeria is not an exception.
From COVID-19 to Turkey, Russia, yes, Ukraine crisis and all of that.
But coming back to Nigeria here, we have our own problems facing us here. The government, as you said, has released them some amount of money, huge amount of money for subsidy. And it's good that the citizens of Nigeria enjoy this subsidy without any hiccup. What is the problem? Is one, I would say one of it is the principle of demand and supply. You know, when the supply is short, price tends to rise. And when the supply is more.
But why should we have supply challenges at this point? We are an oil producing country. In as much as we don't refine much home, we import. Why is this challenge at this particular point in time? Okay. We hear issues of transporting this product from Lagos is a challenge, or is it the issue of loading? And government have decided to bridge the price for uploading, transporting this. Why do we still have this challenge?
Yes, I will commend the federal government, the President Muhammadu Buhari, for giving a 10 naira to our transport allowance. It's not just to ameliorate the transport fare for the equalization fund, but it's not going to be it's going to be take care of things all. But what I'm saying in effect is that the president has done well, but it's good that that 10 naira gets to the people or the citizens. Now we have challenges as marketers. Many people will not say it. Marketers are the most hit when it comes to the distribution of product in downstream sector. This is due to the fact that we relate with the end user, the people. When there's no fuel, they'll say the filling station owners are the ones doing this. But I want to let Nigerians know.
Who are these marketers? Which group now?
Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. We constitute, we have over 80% of filling stations in Nigeria across the country. So what is really happening is that these tank farm owners, government have a template of the marketers will buy at the rate of 148.17 kobo, 17 kobo. Recently, the tank farm owners hiked their price. Our members now get this fuel at 161, from 161 to 165. As at maybe before this yesterday, they were selling 168. Some depots were selling 168 to our members. When you put like 8 naira transport fare, it will be landing at 160 something or 170 something naira per liter at the filling station. How do you expect a marketer to sell at 165 when business to make profit and not to run at a loss? So that's one of the problems. So we are now telling government that this marketers, this depot owners should sell to our members at the template given by government, which is 148 naira 17 kobo. When you give it to a marketer, he will be able to sell 165 naira. We have other challenges we are having.
Okay. Before other challenges, sorry to cut you at this point. Can you tell me the relationship between the NNPC, talking about the NNPC Limited, and the tank farm owners? From the release we got, which I read as prelude to this discussion, we're told the tank farm owners are the ones releasing the products which is stored in their reserves to make this commodity very much available, much more than we used to have it.
That's true. We have a template, like I said before, have a template that government set that tank farm owner will sell to members of our association, which is IPMA. If you give us that product at that template, which is 148 naira 17 kobo, and we'll pay for transport, and it will land in our stations at 165 naira.
8 naira increase per liter.
Yes, you know, putting everything together, we can be able to sell at 165 naira. That is the template government gave. But in a situation where we buy it at an exorbitant price that is above the template, you don't expect a marketer to sell at a loss. So we are pleading to government to look into these private tank farm owners. I know they have their own challenges. Maybe the issue of freight, maybe bringing this product from the NNPC vessel to their depots. When they build it up, I know they have a way of meeting with the government to ameliorate their own problem. But our own situation is that getting the product at 148.17 kobo is our problem. If a marketer gets at this price, I bet you, he will not seek you anywhere. In fact, if you come to my station, I will even give you an incentive, clean your glasses, and even give you some souvenir for coming.
Where is the relationship between the tanker drivers, talking about NATO, and the tank farm owners?
Good. NATO, to me, is national road transport owners. But I know they have their this in their constitution and also where they operate. The owners of these tankers that tanker drivers are driving is IPMAN. Before you become a marketer, if you build a filling station, before you have a marketer or license, it is required in an NPC requirement that you have 3 or 2, minimum of 2 trucks. And we control 80% of the retail outlets in Nigeria. Times 3 or 2 trucks to 80% of retail outlets in Nigeria. You know that IPMA members are the owners of trucks. Tanker drivers are our employees, our drivers we employed. We employ them. But what is happening in Nigeria is that these tanker drivers had their union called PTD, Petroleum Tanker Drivers. And they have affiliate with Nupeng, which is the junior staffs of the NNPC. What happened is that when we are loading this product at private depots or even NNPC depots, there are some fees that PT they collect from IPMAN members. We have been saying that it's wrong for another association to collect money from another association. And IPMAN was out of parliament. We are not another association. We are indigenous marketers in Nigeria. Now, my employee will now ask me to pay some amount of money as loading expenses. Currently, we are paying them 48,000 naira before you load 1 truck of product, which is not.
Why? Why is it so?
And that is what we cannot explain.
Okay, let's save the explanation for later. Possibly now we have been assured that there is much availability of this product, particularly expected to come in from Lagos, to reduce the queues in Lagos, the queues in Abuja, and by extension Kaduna and some other states. What is delaying this movement of these products for us to have these queues disappear once and for all, or possibly temporarily?
Okay, I'll commend the management of NNPC for the swift this they gave to this attention. Barely 48 or 3 days ago from to now, they've been loading 24 hours in Lipco's depots, the Total and other depots in Lagos and other towns in Nigeria to make sure that these queues disappear.
Okay.
But what is going on now? Some group like that PTD I'm telling you is undermining the both of government and NNPC. I will play a clip for you now. It is happening in Lagos right now.
Right now, is that evidence?
It's right now.
Can we have it?
Yes. My rep
just keep talking, explaining it while you try to get
my
it.
rep.
Just go.
My rep just sent me a video clip now from Lagos Depot.
Okay.
Where he's saying that that some PTD officials tell them that henceforth from today or yesterday that marketers will be paying them one naira per liter of product loaded in every depot in Nigeria. He just said
can you play that out? Let's get to know. This is evidence based. Okay, with the cameras, get it, or maybe we don't have cameras, but we have a sound that goes there. Okay, where is it? Here. Just play it out and tell me the implication of this particular demand.
For what? So that
okay, can you tell me the implication of this?
So what happened is that
we can't take this
NFPC and government is doing everything possible to ameliorate the suffering of Nigeria. But people are undermining this effort of government and saying that marketers upon the suffering of Nigeria, after paying that 48 naira per liter to them as loading expenses,
is that what this agitation is about?
No, which we are not supposed to pay. They came up with another fee that we should pay one naira extra on every liter of petroleum product lifted in Nigeria in every depot. Now, if a tanker driver is taking one naira per truck, including the 48,000 naira per truck, that means NNPC is telling us that we consume 80 million liters per day. If we are consuming 80 liters per day, and all this thing all this liters is being trucked out through trucking, so that means that PTD is making 80 million naira per day. From who? From marketers. Now, after paying PTD 48,000 naira at loading expenses and paying them 1 naira per truck, how do you expect a marketer?
What is the implication to these queues and the price we are going to be paying at pump? At the same time, what's the possible solution to it?
Thank you. The implication is that the marketer will build this cost into his expenses, and the end user, which is the public, will bear the brunt. If the landing cost of the marketer exceeds the template government given, the man will look for a way to recoup his money. He's in business to make profit.
Wow. Well, I would have loved us to continue this discussion, but I think this is a continuous thing. Not until the queues disappear, we'll need to have you and all other stakeholders that are involved to the studio so that Nigerians will get to understand where this challenge is coming from and the possible solution. Thank you so very much, Onicho OT, for sharing your thoughts with us at this particular point in time. We'll just hope that the queues will reduce following our anticipation to them disappearing finally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, moving on. And interestingly, the week for Nigerian stocks, as investors are smiling home this week, NGX All Share Index recorded 4 days of gains, closed this Friday on a positive note. The NGX All Share Index advanced to 51,070.61 basis point. Market capitalization appreciated to 27,874 trillion naira. At the close of trade, 156,088,000 shares exchanged hands in 4,312 deals, valued at 1.834 billion naira. Champion John Holt and Mayan Baker led activities in terms of volume and value. Up next is the global market.
Hello and welcome to the global market segment. The technology sector boosted a climb in stocks this Friday as investors evaluated economic threats and scaled back expectations for inflation and interest rate hikes. In Europe, the German DAX rose more than 1%, FTSE 0.8%, and French CAC 1.03%. U.S. stock futures gained in early trading as Wall Street looked to grind out a rare positive week in what has been a rough first half of the year. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up by 0.49%, S&P 500 also topped 0.63%, and Nasdaq 100 climbed 0.88%. Stocks in Asia were also higher on Friday, led by technology stocks on the Hong Kong market. The Hang Seng Index jumped 2.09% to 21,719.06. The Shanghai Composite also rose 0.89%, while the Nikkei 225 in Japan climbed 1.23%. Well, African markets are trailing behind in the positive sentiment witnessed across the globe as they closed mixed. South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40, Namibia's overall index, Ghana's GSE Composite, and Morocco's Free Float Index were the stocks in green, while Kenya's Nairobi All Share and Tunisia's Tunidex were negative. And that's Global Markets Review. I am Neka Oko.
Well, information reaching us now is that the Federation Account Allocation Committee, talking about FAC, has shared a total of 680.783 billion naira in May 2022 Federation account revenue to the federal government, states, and the local governments. This was contained in a communique issued at the end of the Federation Account Allocation Committee for June 2022, held in Abuja, where 680.783 billion naira total distributable revenue comprised distributable statutory revenue of 385.004 billion naira, distributable value-added tax VAT 198.512 billion naira, and electronic monetary transfer levy revenue of 97.267 billion naira. The balance in the excess code account now stands at $35.377 million. Well, that's much we can take on the program. This is where we end this episode. Don't forget, you can access all previous episodes on YouTube, and we value your feedback. Do join us again on Monday at 3 p.m. for another package. I am Benny Adams saying, stay safe.